Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here. Welcome to our Goodreads Choice Award winners reading vlog. I think every single year it comes and goes. There are Goodreads Book Choice Award winners, and sometimes I look at that list and pick some stuff out of it, but usually I don't. And I wish that I did. But this time we are actually going to read some of the winners on that list because I am in a post-Bookmas slump. Slump for everything. I don't want to edit anything, I don't want to film anything, I don't want to read anything. I just want to hang out on my couch and rot for a little while and rewatch Pretty Little Liars. That's kind of what I have been doing here for the past few days, but I need to not do that. I need to not do that at all, and I need to pick up some books. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have gotten a couple chapters into A Great Big Beautiful Life. Problem. I think that so far this one's sounding interesting. I'm really enjoying the two authors battling it out, trying to see who's able to write this book for this person. I'm only 4 chapters in those, so I'm obviously not super into the storyline or anything like that. I don't know what's gonna happen. So far it's good. However, I don't want to read it. I don't want to read this. I don't want to read it all. Again, I just want to do anything else other than read, but I'm going to force myself to do that. I think I might go sit outside. Depending on how cold it is, I really don't know. I might sit outside and see if I can read this a little bit. I do not want to let another Emily Henry book, great. I do not want to let another Emily Henry book slip through my fingers like I have allowed them to in the past. I feel like I have such an unfortunate reading track with Emily Henry books. Every single time I go to pick up one of her books, I end up getting into a slump, or I'm in a slump and I try to pick one up to get me out of it. This one just so happens to be following along in the same footsteps, but I'm not gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to get into it. I'm gonna try to enjoy it. I'm gonna lock my phone in a lockbox if I have to and hide the TV remote with it. I don't want to do that. I just want to read this book and I want to enjoy it. Because I did have this one on one of my Bookmas videos. I was doing books that I anticipated to be a 5-star, books that I thought on my shelf that would be a 5-star, and I did include this on there. So I do think that I have high hopes for this one. I do think that it has potential to be a 5-star. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I just think it. I just feel it in here, and I want to give it the proper opportunity. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna get into this, and hopefully I'm going to get a little bit more eager to read it than I have been. Hopefully. We'll see though. Who knows? After what feels like an excruciating amount of time, I have finally finished Great Big Beautiful Life. I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more than I expected whenever I first started reading it. It took me about 150-ish pages to actually get into the story, actually start following along with what was going on, and to quit like skimming through everything but not fully reading what was happening. I feel like for the most part, 150 pages in, I'm just skimming through it with my eyes, and I'm like, I'm thinking about everything else while I'm reading it, and that's not good. I need to not do that. So I stopped, finally, got into it, and I actually really enjoyed this one. I think so far, from what I've heard, a lot of people say that this is their least favorite Emily Henry book. I could be so wrong, but I feel like that's pretty much general consensus. It's what I've heard a lot of. I think that this one is actually my favorite one that she's written, and maybe that could just be the fact that I think that it reads a little bit more like a Taylor Jenkins read. It feels like she was inspired by that type of writing, that type of storytelling, and I think to kind of incorporate some of that into here, it definitely made it feel, I don't want to say more unique, because again, I do feel like it feels very similar to TJR, but with this, I really enjoyed it more than just the stereotypical romance that I normally see from her. I don't want to say every single time, because I don't think The Happy Place was necessarily like that, but from all the other books that I have read, it's all just authors. They're all dealing with the same thing. There's some type of heavy loss that's going on, and we're trying to overcome that with writing, and then said other character is also a writer. So again, it does feel similar to this, but it didn't feel as similar as I would normally think. I think I was more focused on the storytelling aspect and the actual interview and the story of the interview than I was with the actual main character's problems, and I think for me that's what I like. I don't necessarily care about these deep underlying problems that's affecting how they are or who they are as a person. I think if I'm reading a general fiction book or something where it's important, I don't mind that, but if it's just a romance book, sometimes I don't really care. I think a lot of times people try to write stuff into romance to bring awareness to topics, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's wrong, but for me, I mostly like a romance to be a romance and not necessarily dabbling in any of those topics. It's not my favorite thing ever. So for me, I think that's why sometimes I have a little bit of a hard time reading some of these books, just because I am wanting something more specific than what she writes, and it's okay. I'm not saying I dislike her writing, but sometimes those topics are just not my favorite and they kind of pull me out of the story a little bit. This one, not the case. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good book. I liked the two characters. The only thing that I will say about the two characters, I didn't care about their romance, was the fact that they were not trying to get together. It was more just waiting for the right time to be together. So they were pushing each other away because the timing wasn't right, and they were waiting for the end of their contract to be up so that way they could be together. So it didn't feel like we were watching them fall in love. It felt like they were already in love and we're just waiting for them to be able to act on said love, which was not my favorite thing ever. Again, we know how I am. I like it to be a really long, drawn out slow burn, and I really like that to drag on for the whole entire story. We know that. Not necessarily what happened. Again, it was more just a waiting game than a, oh, well, let's watch them fall in love. Not my favorite. That's what I didn't really care for, unfortunately. But again, pretty good. I'm gonna give this one a 4-star. I think that this one is this one's definitely my favorite book of hers so far. I really enjoyed this. I don't think I really have many notes about it. The ending felt a little bit rushed. I think that the ending with the main characters, not necessarily the lady that they're interviewing, but the actual main characters, that felt a little insanely quick, and I didn't care for that. But other than that, again, 4-star. I really liked it. Then immediately after I finished this one, I wanted to get into a thriller because I knew this didn't put me in a slump, but it was a little bit boring at the beginning and I really just wanted to read something fast-paced, and so I picked up Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I actually was not planning on reading this because I did not know that I had this on my Kindle until last night when I was thumbing through trying to figure out which section I wanted to read next. So started this one last night and have just been binging it ever since. I mean, every time that I have a spare minute today, I've just been picking this book up and reading it. I'm obsessed so far. I like how fast this book is going. I think the idea behind solving your own murder is fascinating, and I'm curious to see if this is gonna have a happy ending or not. I don't really know what to expect right now. I think that there might be just because it's a book, but I also wouldn't put it past not having a happy ending, so I don't really know. I am very much eager to get into this though and finish it up. Loving it so far. Again, super quick, super easy, super bingeable. It's just keeping me on my toes, and I am absolutely loving that right now. I just finished Not Quite Dead Yet. I really enjoyed this one. I think the only issue that I had with it, and I knew that it was going to be like this going into it, but with older characters, I don't necessarily want it to read super young. I don't want it to feel really YA, and it still felt very YA, which again, I'm not mad about it. Obviously, I knew this was a YA book going into it. I knew what to expect, but once finding out that the characters were like 27, it was a little bit harder for me to feel that this was as young as it felt. I don't know. Obviously, that's not the book's fault. I knew that going into it. I expected it. but I just would rather older characters feel a little bit older to me, but still, nonetheless, I'm not mad about it. I really did like this. I pretty much guessed who did it at the very beginning of it, not necessarily that I had a specific reason to think that, other than just this is probably who it's gonna be, and then just kind of kept on to that through the whole entire rest of the book. I'm not one to normally try to guess what's gonna happen with the plot twist, like why, what the twist itself is gonna be, just the person, but I also don't like to read too much into it just because I want to enjoy the story for what it is and not be focused on what it is, who did it, and then if I guess it, then I'm like, I'm kind of disappointed now because I'm not actually getting that, oh my gosh, like that's insane plot twist. So that was fine. I wasn't too mad about it. I think the way that this played out was still pretty good. There was just some little piece of me that didn't care for the ending that much. I enjoyed it. I think it wrapped up decently. There were a couple little parts where I felt like we didn't get the full amount of information, or I was left a little confused about that specific like runoff point, but for the most part I definitely wasn't too bad about it. I think it was pretty good. I think overall I would give this one a 3-star. Again, not that I didn't like it, I feel like 3 stars sounds pretty low. It does not mean that I didn't like it at all. It was not my favorite. I think The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, that being a series, solidified that a lot more for me. This one just being a one-off book was still good. I still got that kind of plot twisty thing, like finding out what was happening and like, oh my gosh, like no way, I did not expect that. But just wasn't my favorite thing ever. I still really enjoyed it. I still thought it was really good, but I think 3 stars is okay for me. Moving on though, I'm in between Atmosphere and The Compound. I don't really know what I'm gonna read next. Again, I previously had started Atmosphere and I got like 10% of the way through, something like that, and then I decided I didn't want to finish it because I wanted to focus on it, so I'm not sure which one I want to pick right now. I don't know. I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna figure out which one sounds most appealing and I'll let you know what I pick when I pick it. I've officially finished Atmosphere. I finished it last night. I really loved it. I really don't have a ton to say just because I love most every Taylor Jenkins Reid books. Like, I don't think that there's gonna be a book that I give a negative review unless if there's just something crazy out of pocket that I just do not like. Absolutely obsessed with it. Love the characters. Loved going into space. I think it was such a different change of pace. Like, we don't read much about space. It's like a historical fiction. Like, it's really good. I really enjoyed it and I liked the way that the ending happened. I wasn't expecting that. I will say there was one character, Barbara. I was a little peeved with her. I'm pretty sure everybody would be. I'm annoyed that she didn't like face any repercussions for her actions. Like, I'm glad kid's good. Wish that there was like some sort of whatever with her. I wish she understood what was going on. I wish she like had a change of heart and like was different, but I didn't get that, unfortunately. That was like the resolution that I was really wanting, but hey, it is what it is. All is well. I think I'm gonna end up giving this one a 4-star. If I think about it a lot, I might subject to change it, but right now I think 4 stars is where I'm sitting at. I'm very comfortable with that, and I think overall we had a pretty good time reading. We started with A Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I gave that one a 4-star, I think. Pretty sure. And then I read Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, gave that one a 3-star, but I still really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And then Atmosphere, we gave that one a 4 stars. We have 2 4-stars in this video and a 3-star, which I feel like doesn't happen very often. Maybe it does and I'm just like not remembering, but I don't know, I feel like those are pretty good. I feel like we did pretty good. But that's it. That is the reading vlog. I am so thankful that you're here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hopefully will get to see you in the next one. See ya!